Well, good morning, and it's Thursday morning. Thought of not doing this for some reason. I'm kind of discouraged. Looking out the windows onto the world, it's kind of coming apart. Stop the world. I want to get off. The question I've been asking on Facebook when I've done a little daily entry, what's on my mind? The question that's gotten the most response from people is, how can I be useful? What can I do to be useful? Well, I'm not sure anybody knows. The sermon Sunday was at Holy Innocents was really very helpful. Breathe in and breathe out. It was very helpful. But we plow ahead. We just go ahead. We just do what we should. Probably that's what we should do. Stick with the ordinary task and do it as well as you can. Maybe that's the thing you should do, and I should do more than anything else. Happiness, and talk a little bit about perspective. I have a story about perspective that I learned back in high school. I used to go to a lot of baseball games, Yankee Stadium. And of course, the center fielder who took the role of Mickey Mantle, took Mickey Mantle's place, who took Joe DiMaggio's place. So there's a legacy of great center fielders. It was Bobby Murcer. And Bobby Murcer came to Yankee Stadium on September 8th, 1965. He was 20 years old. He had played in Columbus, Georgia, and the expanded roster, the pennant race was already in the bag for the Yankees, so they were expanding their roster. And the heir apparent was going to be in right field, and the Mick was in center field. And Bobby Murcer was introduced by the public address man, Mr. Shepard, Bob Shepard, batting third for the Yankees, number 9, Bobby Murcer. And as he was announced, the entire stadium began to rise, and big hum. And Bobby Murcer said, "What a welcome! Whoa, what a welcome!" But then he looked over at the Yankee dugout and saw that the rise in the affect of the stadium attendance was not for him. It was for Mickey Mantle, who was going to bat fourth and coming out of the dugout. And he said that's what perspective is. It's to see things in their totality, from the Latin word to see things through and to see things thoroughly. To have a perspective. By one of my favorite teachers used to give an argument in the history of philosophy class. He'd give a whole argument on this hand, and he'd go through the whole argument. You'd take down your notes, and then he'd stop when he was finished. But on the other hand, and then he'd refute the whole thing, refute it, point by point by point. So it's to see both sides, all 5 sides, all 9 sides, all 2 sides, all 4 sides, whatever it is, to see it all. Happy people have perspective. They somehow see the whole picture. Black and white, happy people tend to see some gray. Happy people tend to see the middle ground. They know how they fit in. They know their role. They know that life is an orchestra and that everybody plays a role. The book I used to use in ethics in the summer particularly was Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers. I didn't really know what an outlier was for a long time. It's a noun, outlier. And it means something out of the ordinary, something that's not predictable, something which falls outside the assumed lines of a discussion, something which falls into an area that hadn't been thought of. An outlier is an exception. It's hard to describe. It's a very abstract term. We use it the other way by saying, let's think outside the box for a minute. The church is facing a financial catastrophe. What should we do? Think outside the box. I want something outside the box. Sell the church. What? No. That's outlier suggestions outside the box are not welcome. They're not. They're immediately released often as outrageous. Just what is he? But that's an outlier. Is to think outside the box. And Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book called The Story of Success, Outliers. because success has a pattern, and we only go halfway in it. Our success is what we have accomplished. And that's partly true, but I think it's only partly true. Malcolm Gladwell is a journalist by trade for now the New Yorker magazine. He was business and science editor and reporter for Wall Street Journal and other places. Smart guy. And he got the idea of outliers because he believes that there's 4 components to success: who, what, where, when. And in our understanding of success, we often just do the first 2, who and what. I am a man. I am white. I am gifted in some ways. That's the who I am. The what I am is I'm in Atlanta. I'm of affluent parents. I have been to university. I have been very, very successful in my career, whatever it is. And therefore, we tend to put a period after who and what. Who is identity, what is skill set. All valid. But we put a period there and say, I am a self-made man or a self-made woman. Malcolm Gladwell believes there's 2 other elements which are just as critical but not very often acknowledged, and it's where and when. And therefore, I could say to you with confidence, after 24 years of experience in Haiti, if you are born in Haiti, you are at a disadvantage than if you were born in the United States, in New York City, and I can't see how that's argued. Haitians are just as bright, but what they lack is opportunity, and opportunity usually comes in under when and where. And he discovered this insight at a hockey game, of all things. He went to the Memorial Cup Hockey Championship in Vancouver, British Columbia. Now, hockey is the raison d'etre of Canada. It's the national pastime. Everybody plays hockey. Everybody's surrounded by hockey. When Governor Palin talked about hockey moms, she was talking about something that exists in Canada and in Alaska. These are mothers who get their children up at 4:30, drive them to the rink, eating their little warm breakfast in the car, getting them to the rink safely, and then getting them home, getting them showered, getting them fed again, and getting them to school. All these great athletes have had hockey moms. It's the national pastime. And the elite league is the World Junior Leagues, which go all through Canada. Everybody plays. But what the World Junior League means is superior coaching, expanded schedules, commercial backing, good equipment, better practices, and more competitions. You can become a boy or a girl in that league. You can enter that league as a boy or a girl. There's a women's league and a men's league. These are 17 to 19-year-old kids. And they're good. They're really good. They are a feeder. This is a feeder for the upper echelons of hockey, professional hockey, and ultimately the National Hockey League. Every Canadian kid thinks about that. You can enter that league at the age of 10 years old on your birthday. 2 sisters are side by side, both pregnant, both due kind of in their late 8th and 9th month. One woman has her due date January 6th. One woman has her due date August 9th. Both deliver healthy baby, girls or boys, both. But the child born January 3rd, if that's the date, can enter the league on his 10th birthday, whereas the child born in August has to wait till the 10th birthday in August. And that means, Malcolm Gladwell said, that means that January, February, March, April, May, June, July, that is 7 months of training prior to the entrance of the second child. If you and I were going to compete for something, run a race for $1 million for charity, I'm 80 years old, but I'm going to run a race. And you're going to run the race too, and we're going to have a competition. And the winner gets $1 million for the charity of their choice. But you get a chance to train 7 months longer before I do. It's a difference. And so his wife is at the hockey. It was a spirited game between the Medicine Hat Tigers and the Vancouver Giants, a team from Alberta, a team from British Columbia. And it's a spirited game, and they're playing hard hockey. And it doesn't matter who won. But his wife said to him, Mal, look at the schedule. Look at the roster. Look at the birthdays. 30% of the players on the ice, 30% of them had been born in January. Another 20% had been born in February. Another 20% of the players on the ice had been born in March. And that means that 70% of the active athletes had been born in the first 3 months of the year. The other 30% were born in the other 9 months of the year. Does that mean that a kid born in December is not a star? No. That kid may have so much talent he can compensate for the lag in his training. And the Women's League is the same thing. It's a powerful thing. The due date is important. And I used to tell the students at Holy Innocents, your birthday is winning the natural lottery. The chances of you being born in the United States, in Atlanta, in Sandy Springs, and go to Holy Innocent School, what a gazillion when you think of the people on the earth. So we've already won the natural lottery. They did a study of 75 of the richest people in the United States. 75% of the richest people in the world. 14 of them are Americans. And 9 of the 14 were born in 1 decade. If you want to be a millionaire, your odds of being born from the 1830 to 1839 made your chances very, very good. If you were born in 1840, you were too young. If you were born in 1820, you were too old. For what? For the economic boom that happened between 1860 and 1870 when Wall Street was established and where the railroads went west. And therefore, John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, I wrote them down, Frederick Weyerhaeuser, Marshall Field, J.P. Morgan, George Pullman, and Philip Armour were all born 8 years apart from 1831 to 1839. It makes a difference. Who? Yes. What? Yes. Where? Yes. When? Yes. We don't want to be Cal Hockley in the movie Titanic, the heir of his father's fortune. When he gets on the Titanic and the car is coming down to be put on the Titanic, he's going to marry Rose DeWitt Boudicca, or Bucater, and the butler, whoever it is, says, "You're lucky." He said, no, a rich man makes his own luck. That's not true. That's not true. Better be lucky than good? No. Better be lucky and good. I think this is important. Now, this was always a tough lesson for kids. You know what? Bill Gates knows this, because people who have perspective are generous. People who have perspective are grateful. People who have perspective are happy. Bill Gates knows this, and Warren Buffett knows this. The story of success is opportunity, and it doesn't come knocking. Opportunity is something that is given to you as a gift. it comes wrapped in wrapping paper. And the advantage, there's a reason why I'm at Holy Innocents, and it is for three people. Neil Zabriskie, rector of All Souls in Asheville, who really urged me to become an Episcopal priest. Bennett Sims, I've spoken of him yesterday. And I think the fourth rector of this parish, maybe the third, I can't keep it all straight, Bob Johnson, who brought me to Holy Innocents. Was there some skill involved on my part? A little bit. But the opportunity came to me as a gift because they picked me out of a lineup and brought me. And that's how life does go. It is better to be lucky and good. What we're trying to do is, here's the problem with what's happening in the country. People perceive inequality, and there is inequality. But it's not inequality of who and what. It's often inequality of where and when. And that's the anger. That's some of it. It doesn't justify the violence. It doesn't. But it explains something of the motivation of people. I like it. But people who are convinced that their success is all they're doing don't like it at all. Anyway, happy people have perspective. They know that the opportunity that has come has been given. I tell you what, I'm glad, if I'm a Haitian priest, it's just a hard row to hoe. It's a hard load to pull. Anyway, we'll take it up next week. I hope you be safe. Stay in, I guess, if you can. Pray for the country. Thank you. Bye. God bless.